Hi, how you doing? It's Tuesday, it's block of the week, and you got me for a change. So, I'm hoping, there you go. I'm hoping that that'll be all right. I had this planned 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were going to do it, but we're going to do it today. And then Sarah will be here tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, and she'll be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow, and then we have open evening on Thursday. So we'll be spit and polish everywhere in the shop. So that'll be fine. I've had a busy morning. I've been and had my eyes tested because my eyesight is not right. So Sarah insisted I go and see the optician, which is pretty good. I would have gone next week anyway, you know, between Christmas and New Year. But apparently one of the shingles has left a scar right in the middle. So hopefully it will all subside. I've got a plan. I've got a plan in my head for that. So so that's good. At least it's something that may change. It's not something that I'm going to have to live with. What else has been going on? And the traffic out there is horrible. Really horrible. It's really bad. So now, we're very quiet. I don't know how to change that, sweetheart. You could turn your volume up. I don't know that I can change the volume here. If I turn that up, does that make a difference? Is that noisier? I don't want to blast your ears off or anything. So I'm really worried about pressing buttons. Is that any better, Lind? Okay, can you hear me? I'm not going to sing. So we're going to do the raffle. Okay. It might be that Sarah will come back and change. Nobody can hear me. It's a bit better. Let's turn it up even more. I don't know what else I can do about it. This one, the lines are jumping a bit more. So anybody here who doesn't know me, I'm Sarah Jane. I'm one of the geckos. There's 3 of us. And you might not have seen me because I haven't been very front forward. It's gone a bit quiet. Yeah. Did you run all the way over there? Yeah. All the way back?
All the way back. I'm just going to sort it out now.
I told you should be here.
Right. Do you want to do, if you go over to there and do the raffle while I
right,
with
okay.
that.
All right. I've turned it up as much as I can.
Yeah, no, it's not on there, love. We have to, because of Secret Sewing Club, because of the type of software we're using, my microphone's too loud for it. So we have to. You can carry on. It's fine. You don't
need to press the button then.
What button?
So that they can see what I'm doing.
I did that.
Well, it hadn't changed before, and I didn't know. Right. Okay. So this one is for Saturday. Okay. This one is for Saturday, the 14th. We've got 4 to do today. So here we are. So we've got 398 on a pink.
That might now be too loud. Is that now too loud, people? Is that
and this one is for Geraldine Proctor. So is that how is that, everybody?
How's that? Or is that way too loud now, guys? Let us know.
So we got the 14th, Geraldine Proctor, and you have won 1 metre of fabric. So if you're watching, Geraldine, if you want to go on and choose your fabric, and we shall go from there. Well done. So that's Geraldine. The 15th.
It's a tad loud now.
It's a tad loud.
Okay.
I'm definitely not going to sing then.
Right, there we go.
It's because I've turned it up as well on the...
On here?
No, on the black. See, I've put it right there.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, that, yeah. There we go. So that should now be about normal, guys. Is that normal? Hopefully it is. So too loud now.
That's how we work though, isn't it? Bit loud.
Bit too loud. Right, I think I've got it back to what we normally have it on. It's right, Secret Sewing Club, we're too loud for it compared to everyone else. So
No, you sound perfect on there.
Yeah, that's because I turn it down to like halfway. But when it's going through the normal one, that's then two things.
Right, G says it's okay now.
There you go.
There you go. Right, so for the 15th, that was Sunday. Yes? Sunday, it's green 202, and that's Anna Sevior. And you've won a Zippity Doo Dun. So if you've never used Zippity Doo Duns, then you're in for a treat. They're the best. I love using my Zippity Doo Duns. So that's for Anna. So where we going? Right, so Monday the 16th, we got one there. This one's a green one again. This one is 169. Okay, and that is L Curry. So I think it's curry. So they've obviously been in the shop, so I'll give you a ring later because your phone number's on there. And you have won dun, 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 a Prim ironing board. It's one of those little ones like that for you to do sleeves and short, small bits. Be ideal if you're doing little blocks to have by the side of you. So well done, L Curry. And we will give you a ring later so that we can find out where you are. So today's today's is, let's see. So where are we? Let's go. Better loud than quiet. I suppose yes, it is. You can always turn us down. My mother used to put us on mute. Just watch us. Right. Today's is 397, so it's a fairly new one, I think. In a pink. Are we doing pinks now? No, we're doing greens now. So this is way back. And it's Geraldine Proctor. It's amazing how you come out twice sometimes. So, and you have won. Let's have a look. Oh, Geraldine, you've won the £50 voucher. Well done. So there we go. Those are our 4 winners today. We can go back over those later for any latecomers. But today we are going to talk about, we're doing a block of the week. Okay. Now I meant to put this up before. So our block of the week this week is Chisel Star. And this is the quilt that we're doing. Okay. So let's see if we can put this up here. I should have put, oh no, I'm not going to reach that. I'd have to stand on a chair. So there's the Chisel Star. So it's just these 2 repeated all the time. Okay, so there we go. So that's what we're going to do. I have used, for this, I bought a Craft Yourself Silly roll. Okay, so I bought this one. 3. I bought this one. Okay, so it is, this one is the solid rainbow. So that's what gave me all the different colours. So you can see that I cut them and I managed to get 2 out of each of the colour changes as you go through. I was able to get them so that they sort of matched. I mean, most of them match. Some of them, the colourway went further round. So we used one of those and a white one. So that made the middle of my quilt, which is 1836. It's about a 36. So I'm going to put borders around it. Okay. So you Craft Yourself Silly. They've got, what was it she said? 12 meters. I don't know whether it was 12 metres or 24 metres, I should have asked her again, of fabric length in these. And you've got plain ones, so these ones are £10. These are 15, the different colours, and you get different colours in and patterns in them. If you have a look on the website, they'll tell you all about it. And you also can get the 1.5 inch, okay, in a plain. So it might be worth having a look. We've got new ones coming in as well. So have a look on the website and you can see what we've got going on there. 12 metres, thanks Jean. I couldn't remember. So I've actually taken a length of a different fabric we've got in the shop. This one is ombre rainbow. And the colour Craft Yourself Silly rolls work out about the same type of colourway, okay? But I didn't want to open up another roll just for a couple of demonstration pieces. So you cut it. You need a, I thought I had some, you need a 2.5 inch square of white fabric and a 4.5 inch square of coloured fabric. Okay, you could use a normal jelly roll for this and cut your own strips. And you want a 2.5 inch coloured, hang on, let's do it with this one, 2.5 inch coloured and a 4.5 by 2.5 inch white. So this then will become your blocks. On the 2.5 inch square, you're going to put a line diagonal along it, okay, from top left to bottom right. My brain is not firing properly today, ladies. You will have to forgive me. So when you sew on the diagonal, because we're going to press it out, we're just altering that 4.5 inch block. We're just going to alter it with a square in a triangle in the corners. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. When you sew the diagonal, what did she say? 5 was close up. How close does that go? So on here, you're going to want to, where your diagonal is, you want to come just slightly to the outer edge of the diagonal. Now I tend to use the mark on my foot. There's a mark which shows you where the middle is. I tend to put it just to the one side, you know, so that you're sewing on the left hand side of that mark. It's a very, very small mark on your foot, and I sew with the left hand there. That just gives it enough that as it comes over the fold over, it just takes it up and it sits much better in that corner. Okay, so we're going to take these two to the sewing machine, and I'm going to muddle my way through that as well. Okay, so Sarah's sewing machine is different to mine. Let's just, it's not anything. There we go. So I'm just going to put my needle, I'm going to take it down and just put it on the other side of my line. I'm going to put it to the right of my line. Okay, I'm going to go as slow as I can. That's one. So you're going to marry up your white square with your coloured 4.5 by 2.5. and you're going to marry up your coloured square with your white rectangle. Now I'm sure you could do different sizes if you wanted to. I don't know whether if you used a what am I doing? I don't know if you used a charm pack and cut it in half. That would give you that little bit of leeway for when you're squaring up. So we're going to cut these down like that. I'm going to take my pins out. Notice I pinned. I don't normally pin. And we're going to just check before we cut anything, we're just going to check that that fits in the corner, which it does. So now I can trim that off at about 1/4 inch, like that. Okay, and I'm going to pull this one out. Just check that it fits. There you go, that fits into the corner. So I can trim that off like this. It is, I mean, a lot of people like a different block all the time. Me, I like repetitive blocks. This was right up my street, this block, because it was repetitive. I was able to cut it all and then just chain piece. Right, one of the things I did find when you start putting it all together, if you always iron to the dark, okay, if you always iron to your coloured bit, they all nest. Okay, so with this one I would now iron out to the coloured piece like that. So if you're ironing there, when you actually come to nest them at a later stage, it will all work. Okay, so now we need to square it up. I don't know if she's got a smaller one. I'm a bugger for wanting to have all my, I like having my 4.5 inch. Right, so you want it to be 4.5 inch from that end there. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to tidy that up a bit like this. It's the slightest bit coming off it, the slightest bit that is coming off, but it will make all the difference, because that slight bit, if it was like that on all of them, then you would find it it would put it right out, wouldn't it? So I'm just going to trim off the edge there like that. So I now have a 4.5 by 2.5 inch block with, there we go. Okay, so putting them together, let me just iron these out. Putting these together now, you're going to turn, you're going to put them so that your white square is in your top left, like that, and your coloured square is in the bottom, no, top right, bottom left. I'm dyslexic with my left and right quite often. So top right, bottom left. You're going to put them right sides together and sew your 1/4 inch down there. Okay, so we're going to sew these two together 1/4 inch. You would use the line and move the needle. Yes, there is always that as well. I think it depends on, on your machine and how you use the machine. I mean, I tend to pick a point. You know me, I'm not a big one for changing my needles and stuff like that. So we're just sewing this one together down there. Like that. Hi Carol, how are you? Right, where am I? 3. So I now have, oh, you got dark in the bottom. Thinking, I'm sure it was white. Right, so I'm going to sew again to the dark, iron to the dark, okay, iron it out to the dark, like that. Make sure it's all nice and neat. Our chisel block, then, you're going to take your squares and you're going to turn your little square round. Each time that you do it, you're going to turn it around, which then gives you the star. I mean, those of you who have been with us for a long time, we made friendship stars, and that's just what this is really. It's a friendship star. We used them in our first group quilt, as far as I remember. So you're going to take them and you're going to put 2 together and sew them down. So this is where the nesting bit comes in handy, because I didn't listen to myself and iron to the dark. So this is where your nesting will come in handy. As you do this, these 2 rectangles should nest in together. These 2 triangles should nest in together like that. Okay. And we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch along there. It really is an easy block, Jean. I loved doing it because it was very repetitive. I didn't have to think, and I was able to do it at the retreat because it was easy enough to walk away and know what you're doing when you got back. So it really helped. I did another one at the retreat as well, a brick block, which has come out beautiful. Because you're only using half of your layer cake in the brick block, it means that it showcases that, and it's beautiful. I love it. Right, okay, we're just going to straighten up our inner lines. Okay, as you can see, my sewing, I'm very haphazard here. It sort of curves. That straightened it up any. Oh, there we are. That's a little bit better. So I'm going to pick the smallest line. You know, it goes in a bit there. So I'm going to take that point, make sure this point measures up, and I'm just going to take off that little bit there, like that. Now, if I did this again, I'd probably give myself that little bit more leeway on. Oh look, I sewed that much better. That could be down to using my own machine at home. I would give myself a little leeway where I've cut at 4.5. I might give myself 4.5 and then an extra 1/8 or something like that, just so that when I'm cutting it down, I'm getting it square. I'm terrible for not ending up with it square. But I know my foibles. That's okay. Right, so because I've ironed towards the dark side, you know, the larger amount, I considered that a larger amount than this. So I ironed to the lying down one, and I ironed to the lying down one here. When I put them together, those seams will now nest, okay, and your triangles should nest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put pins in, or they should nest, but they don't. That's because I didn't iron that one to the dark side either. There we go. So now you can see, I've just proved it to you that you need to do it. So I would go along here. No, I haven't. There you go. I would go along here and I would pin these. Okay, I would stick my pins in to make sure that I hit my marks. So this one here is going to fit in there like that. I'm going to pin that one there, and I'm going to pin in between as well. See if we can make that work. And then this one should nest on this side. This one nests lovely. So there you go. We're going to nest that in there and pin that in place. And then I'm going to sew that at approximately 1/4 inch. I'll see you soon, Jean. Thank you very much. It's yeah, the isolation block. Remember the isolation block from the beginning? If you don't, you can buy the pattern book. It'll be on the website. You can either buy single patterns, or you can buy the that's quite good for if you like different blocks. I've actually got a book somewhere which is called one block two ways, something like that. And it's really good because it just lets you shows you how to change it by doing one block, and then how you put it together just changes how it goes. So we're just going to iron to one side. No, we're not. We're going to iron that side. We're going to iron that going that way. And then we're going to, hopefully, I'm going to be able to show you a trick Sarah showed me, where this is your sewing line that we've just done. If you pick the few stitches on the other side of that line, there and there, and take those stitches out, you should be able to get a square, and this point will now sit flat. So can you see where I've got a little square? By putting one seam going one way, this seam going the other, you get that little coloured square in the middle. Does that work? Can you see that? And if you look at my the back of my quilt, see, I like the back of my quilt to be tidy as well. If you look at the back of my quilt, you can see all of them have got those little squares, which makes me very happy. Look at that. Okay, so you've got all of these squares, middle squares, and that they're all they've got little squares in the middle, which makes me quite joyous. So yeah, makes me happy to have those little squares. So it it makes it sit flatter when you're quilting. There's no lump. I often find with people's quilts, when you're quilting and you get to a join like that, sometimes it's quite bumpy. Right, and then you're going to square it up. Now, it should, if your sewing is precise, it should reach 8.5. But because my sewing is really not that precise, I went for 8 3/8, I think it was in the end. That was what I found. Or 8 1/4, and you could go 4 like that, and I would get the whole thing in, but you lost a lot of some of your points. So it's whatever is easiest on your thing, but whatever you cut one at, you've got to cut all of them at that. Okay, so I would struggle to get 8.5 because of my sewing, so I would go for 8 3/8, 8 1/4 when I cut that down. So you would aim for, if we're going to go 8 1/4, that would be 4 1/8, wouldn't it, in the middle, like that. And I would make sure that I hit 4 1/8, 4 8, 4 1/8, 4 1/8, going all the way through, and then I would trim this off. Oh, slip there. And Sarah's blade needs changing. So I've just done that. So we know that it's going to be 8 1/4. So I would line up my 8 1/4. That's 8 1/4. Where's 8 1/4? Like that. I would line all that up and see where I slipped. Like that. And trim it off. Like that. There we go. So you end up with a beautiful block. Now I think what I'll do is I'll probably border this now, and I'll have another project wallet. Can't have enough project wallets, can you? So that's it. I mean, these were so simple to use. They were brilliant because and because I used a variegated, I cut it. I cut my 2.5 inch square, then I cut my 4.5 by 2.5 inch rectangle, then a 2.5 inch square, which makes it a bit more fluffy for cutting out, but it meant that it followed the colours. I kept the colours running together. I mean, you could just cut all your 2.5s and then your 4.5s, but yeah. It meant that this would be a completely different colour to this, whereas at the moment these run with it. Okay, so yeah, that's why I went with cutting them like that. It also means that you have to think a little bit more when you're cutting, and I put the two rolls together and cut them. You know, put one on top of the other and cut them, because I found that was you're cutting down by half, and if you use a shape cut, the cutting's even easier. It's amazing. So that's it. That's for today. Oh, the seam guide thing, the tape, really good. I was able to follow it for the 1/4 inch, even though I didn't have a 1/4 inch foot on. So yeah, that worked really well. Okay, So I will see you sometime on Thursday. We'll probably do the raffle then Thursday evening when we're all together. Be nice to see Sean. I haven't seen her for weeks. So, I haven't seen anybody for weeks, really, have I? So I'm off, and somebody will see you tomorrow. Ta-ra!